morning, guys. My name is Sarah if you're new here. Today I'm going to share with you a bunch of food hacks that I've been doing over the last year or even the last few weeks that have been working so well for me. And I'm going to try a new recipe that you guys sent in to me. So come along today. I'm going to just share with you some things that have been saving me time and especially money. And I know we all love to save money right now, especially in the kitchen, finding ways. It's great. And they're healthy. The first one I was not even planning on sharing, but it's morning and my kids were eating their cereal morning. And I do that in air quotes because it's not really cereal. We make our own homemade granola, which I've shared a number of times on our channel. I make huge batches of it at a time. It lasts such a long time, and I just bag it up, and I only have to make it like every month or two. That's how big of batches I make. We eat it with chocolate chips on top, and it's wonderful, and it's a healthy breakfast. But there are a few kids, because we have done this for so many years, we sometimes eat it, drink it, or eat it with raw milk, or we eat it with our homemade yogurt. But we've done it for so many years that some of our kids get sick of it. And so on cereal morning, they have the choice between homemade granola, making their own oatmeal, which we have overused over the years. But the other thing that a number of them do every single week is pork rind cereal. I know it sounds strange. Pork rinds, I don't believe, are bad for you. And they are really a single ingredient breakfast. And my kids actually, they make it more than a single ingredient, but I believe it's a pretty healthy breakfast. These actually have a little smoked flavoring in them and salt, as well as pork rinds, but they crush them up a little bit, put them in a bowl, and then we always keep some cinnamon sugar. I keep the recipe on this jar so the kids can remake it when they need to. We do about a 1/4 cup of cinnamon to a 1 cup of sugar. So it's a few more than one ingredients by the time they're done, but it really kind of does taste like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It has that crunch and crackle, and it is I think we could all agree, if you don't think pork is bad for you, that it is much healthier than the traditional cinnamon cereals on the market. If I want to do it without sugar even, it's very good with just with some raw milk and a little cinnamon on it only. But yeah, it's a great hack that keeps us from buying unhealthy cereals, and my children really love it. They love it more than I do. And we do it regularly. So that's a weird one, but you know, just thought I'd share. I have saved so many recipes for making your own Rice Krispie, but it's a number of steps, Rice Krispies, and making your own like Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal where you gotta roll out dough and cut it. And I have a lot of children, people. I have 11 children, 10 of them still living at home. That is way more work than I have time for. I'm just not getting into that. I don't mind making huge batches of granola because I do it pretty quickly on large baking pans, and I can do a bunch at once and keep it. But if I'm rolling out dough for homemade cereals, yeah, that's not really happening. And the Rice Krispie thing, no. So I really love this hack just because it truly is something I don't have to prep, and it's way better than most conventional cereals. We do buy cereal here on kids' birthdays. They often will request cereal for their birthday breakfast, and they get to pick what they have for birthday breakfast. So that's the only times of year we eat cereal, but we do have 10 kids, so a lot of them request it. We probably have it 6 or 7 times a year. The next thing I've been doing that I wanted to share with you is I've been making pizza dough, which I've always have made, or for a long time. I make it ahead of time. It's sourdough pizza dough. This dough I mixed up last night. And there's nothing new about that. I was making pizza dough for a long time, and I make a quadruple batch. I use Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone's recipe. She's a friend of mine. I love all of her sourdough recipes. I just don't go wrong with them, except for tortillas, which we're not going to talk about right now. But I really do love all her recipes, and I'm not out here inventing some sourdough recipes. So you can find hers, Farmhouse on Boone. But what I wanted to share with you is that normally I just kind of bag it up and I put it in Ziploc bags in the freezer, which is fine. But I've been doing something different recently that has saved me so much time and has made pizza night way more of an easy option. So let me show you. So I divided it into 4 sections, and then one of them I already divided into 3. So like I said, I quadruple the batch. You would not have to do that. And then I laid one of the thirds. I just like in thirds. I think they make 4 pizzas out of it, but I use these parchment paper sheets, which I get off of Amazon. You absolutely don't have to have them. I find them very convenient because you don't have to cut it or anything, and they're all uniform size. And I spread it out. I just use my fingers. I don't even roll it because my dough tends to be on the wetter, stickier side, I guess. And then I just lay it out on another one on top, and I will spread this piece. See, my dough is sticking. I will spread this piece on here, and I'll keep going. I'll stack them till I have a full stack, and then I'll stick it in the freezer. So that gives me 3 times 4, 12 pizza crusts. We, as a family of 12 eating at home, will eat about 4 for one meal. And yeah, it works out really well. The only way I can make all of that pizza dough at once is because I have that Anchor which I haven't talked about too much on here. I went away from the KitchenAid and used this thing because it holds up to 16 cups of flour. I've done many, many times, and this quadruple batch is 16 cups of flour. So also not necessary. You can just do a single batch or a double batch in a KitchenAid, but all the bread dough I make, I am so glad that I upgraded to this really monster mixer. So let me show you when it's done. Okay, here's my stack. I'm going to slide it onto a tray. Oh, it's heavier than I thought. And then I will put it in the freezer till tonight or tomorrow morning, probably tonight if I don't forget. And then bring it out and wrap it with plastic wrap. And then I can just take a pizza crust off, and the parchment paper peels off easily. I put the bottom parchment paper on a pan, put our toppings on. So fast and easy. It thaws in minutes. Here's an example of, this is probably 9 crusts, maybe, that are previously frozen in the freezer. Just unwrap them. Like I said, so quick and easy in the oven for 13 to 15 minutes, I think, with toppings on it. And we have amazing pizza. My kids rave about it. So good. I cannot tell you why taking it from a blob in a bag to laid out and ready to be topped makes it so much easier, but it does. I can't explain it. Makes us much more willing to do pizza night, and it's much, much faster to me in my mind on a very busy night. So next up, I recently showed my freezers, and I talked about our short ribs and our brisket that were sitting there in the freezer, not getting eaten because it's not grilling season, and my husband usually grills them. And we got many good ideas on how to cook them inside the house. And so we decided to try a couple of those ideas. I already have the short ribs thawed. And the one I like the best, Solo had sent me the comment, is like, put it in a Dutch oven on your stove all day, seasoned with broth, salt, pepper, garlic powder, Worcestershire sauce. So I pulled out my Dutch ovens. I thought it was a great idea. I want to try it. But I have even this pack, and it's barely fitting. So I'm going to use my big roaster and just get them going on kind of low for the day. It's already almost noon, so it's not gonna be the whole day, but we'll cook them as low and slow as we can. If we don't eat till 6, I mean, that's still 6 hours. So we're gonna try that out. I'll let you know how it goes. I didn't thaw the brisket, or I would have tried a really interesting brisket recipe, but we'll see. These short ribs, I mean, can they go wrong? I think they'll be good. We certainly have a lot of them. All right, guys. I got it all in here. This is a huge roaster. This is where we cook our Thanksgiving turkey in, and we get big Thanksgiving turkeys. So there's a lot of ribs in here. That Jello stuff is some broth from my fridge, which I'm going to tell you about my broth in a minute, and some fat from the broth, which is good. That beef broth had a big fat layer on it, and I didn't have quite enough beef broth, so I put some chicken broth at the bottom too. I poured a lot of Worcestershire sauce over it, a lot of garlic powder. That's some of that you're seeing, and salt and pepper. It already smells amazing, and it's just started. So I think this is gonna turn out really good. I'm excited to see what happens. There's always barbecue sauce if it doesn't, right? The next thing I wanna show you is something I learned about broth, and particularly bone broth that we make all the time. So let me show you what I did yesterday. I thawed 2 whole chickens, and I happen to use my chickens from the freezer that were raised in our backyard, our pasture-raised birds. And I put each one in a pressure cooker right after lunch. I set it for 1 hour and put about 6 cups of water into each one with a whole lot of spices. Then I let them just go for another couple hours after they were done. So It was about a 4-hour process of building up the pressure, cooking for an hour, and just leaving it. I could have come and gotten it earlier, but I didn't want to, and it doesn't hurt, it actually makes it better. So now I'm deboning the chicken. I'm putting the chicken bones and a lot of the skin back into the pressure cooker, and I'm going to combine the broth that it made and the bones and skin from both of them into one, and I'm going to cook it down a little bit. This is going to give me 2 things for meals later on in the week. I'll pull this out to cool. One thing we've noticed about our own birds, which are the breed American breast, it's a dual purpose bird. They're good for eggs and meat. The dark meat is very dark in color, and the white meat tastes like dark meat. It's very, very good meat. Best we've ever had by far for chickens. My favorite way to eat them is grilled up, and then I take the bones and make broth out of them. Usually Solo will cut them up before he grills them just into quarters. But this way also works well when we're not using our grill. It definitely gives us a lot of good meat to work with and actually makes us stretch much farther. Here's my final product. Look how dark that meat is. And here's my broth and chicken bones. I just combine it all into one, and I'm gonna just hit the saute button here. Whoops, I gotta clear it out. I'm gonna hit saute, and I will actually just do that for an hour. So when it beeps, I'll just do another 30 minutes. When I cook it down like this, it gives me a much more gelatinous broth, which is good. That's what you want. So it is amazing, whether I'm drinking it or making soup with it. It's very, very good when I cook it down a little. After I boiled all of that broth down for about an hour, it was a lot less. And then I got 3 quarts of broth out of it. It is great broth. I had put a lot of seasonings in the chicken, on the chicken, and some salt and stuff. One thing I forgot to do that I usually remember when I'm just doing bones and not cooking the whole chickens is the apple cider vinegar, which really helps pull all the minerals out of the bones. I could have done it in that last step, just a little splash of it. But anyway, it'll still be great. The thing I've changed is that I used to just jar this broth, and then I would put it in the fridge overnight or something. See that fat layer on top? I would scrape that fat layer off, and then I would can it so it would just be shelf stable for a long time. But I ended up listening to these long podcasts from this lady talking about bone broth and all the health benefits of it. And I learned from her, if she was Australian, I think. I can't even remember who it was. I wish it was like a year ago. I wish I could tell you who it was, but she has a book about bone broth and everything. And I learned that fat layer on top actually really protects the broth from going bad. And you can leave it, I think, even months in your fridge. Well, I haven't tested it for months, but I will tell you I've tested it for weeks, and I used to just freak out about broth getting bad, and I don't want it to be, so I would can it so it would just be shelf stable. But I noticed that I've been leaving it on my shelf now in my fridge rather, for a year, and it is so good. You can definitely smell if broth is off, and I've had it be off in the past, and I realized it's because I had put it in there without that fat layer. So if I jar it up and let that fat layer stay, you see it's not even moving around. It seals it very well, and then the broth is just ready to go without the extra step of canning it. We are going through it often enough that I have not had anything go bad, so we'll just throw it into soup. It's actually so good to drink, and it's very flavorful and good. I don't do it all the time. I'm not a fan of hot drinks in general. I don't drink coffee or tea very well. Hot, even chai, and my husband's Kenyan, and chai is a regular thing around here, and I'm just not a big fan. I like icy cold drinks. But the few times I've drinking it, it was really good, and it's very good for you. When I cook it down like that, I get nice gelatinous. Belle says I'm saying that wrong. I get good broth that's like jello when you shake it, and this is today too. So this is just from last night that I finished it, and yeah, I love keeping it in the fridge now. So when I'm just down to one more jar, doing 2 chickens gave me 3 jars. And when I'm down to 1 more, I tend to just pull some chickens out and plan to make some more broth and make some chickens. So that's just been working out good without having to do all the effort of trying to make a ton at once and then canning it all, because it takes a lot to make a couple jars of this. These jars, good bone broth, especially from pasture-raised chickens, are going to cost you so much in the store, like $10 to $20, I think, for this much. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But a chicken broth is cheaper, but that it is not as nearly as nutritious for you. This is good even in rice or anything. So I'm saving a ton of money doing this, a ton of money. I'm also saving so much money with the pizza crusts. The bottom line is making pizza at home is much cheaper, and my kids say it tastes better than the store-bought stuff. I agree, but I didn't think they would, and they do, because they're kids. But yeah, so I'm saving a lot of money there. Am I saving time? I do think that spreading out those pizza crusts saves me time. Not canning the broth definitely saves me some time and energy, even in my energy bill. So yes, they've been good changes around here that work, and we're keeping them. I don't always cook chickens when I need broth. When we butcher our chickens, or we have someone help us do that, we always save the feet, which you have to boil them down and peel them, get the nails out. Ugh. I don't love doing the feet, but that does make great broth. Sometimes we'll grill the chickens, like I said, and we'll Solo will just cut them into fourths, and we'll just save the bones or cook them later to cook later, or we will just do it right away. When we have beef bones, we use those. This last time we ordered a hog, I asked for the bones. I haven't even looked at what it is yet, but I'm definitely gonna make broth out of those too. You can make broth with anything, deer meat, whatever. Bone broth is great with all of the, I learned that from her too. All kinds of bones. So anyway, there's that. Let's move on to the next thing. Next thing I'm gonna try today is something that I've seen online a lot. I've been enjoying trying viral things. They're usually viral because they're very good, I guess. This is chicken. Look at how dark that dark meat is. I'm not joking, guys. It's not normal. It's very tasty. So I'm taking that chicken from last night, and I want to try chopped sandwiches. So I'm going to use chicken because we didn't buy lunch meat this month. We're saving some money. And this chicken is gonna do the job, I think. Let's see. I shouldn't claim that yet. So I'm just gonna take some ingredients. I'm gonna chop it up tiny, and then we're gonna make sandwiches or lettuce wraps out of it. And I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I've seen so many different kinds of recipes for it, so I'm just gonna use what I have, which is probably some homemade ranch dressing, lettuce, tomato. I think I have some avocado. We'll see. One strange phenomenon that happened to me when I was pregnant with my second child, that's Belle. What? I made a chicken dish that was undercooked, shall we say. I didn't get sick from it, but it tasted so bad to me, and I couldn't eat chicken the rest of that pregnancy. Did you know that? No.
I love chicken.
She loves it. It didn't hurt her. Ever since then, I taste bad chicken whenever chicken is left over. I love leftovers, but I struggle to eat chicken leftover. For some reason, I never taste that bad taste with our homegrown chickens. I didn't even realize that could be a thing, but every time I've had chicken left over, I just expect it to taste like off. And it's never off when it's our home raised chicken. So I never have really gotten in the habit of shredding meat ahead of time, cooking chickens, keeping shredded meat, because I don't like that taste, even if it just went overnight. But it always tastes good to me when it's our pasture-raised chickens. What is that? Is it the breed? Is it in my mind? I don't think it's in my mind, because I didn't expect it at all. And one day I'm like, this chicken never tastes bad to me. It's so weird. Anyway, let me get some more ingredients out. All right, I found some pepperonis. We won't need them all for the pizza. Some tomatoes, a little spinach, some green onions, half an avocado. I have some avocados that aren't quite ready, but that one is. So I'm gonna put it in the fridge in a baggie. I don't know if I'll use the cucumber. And I have some leftover vegan Caesar. I realized I should use that before making more ranch. That was from a brand deal. And yeah, let's see. I'm gonna add in some iceberg lettuce too. I think that part's important. Not iceberg. What is this? Romaine. I think that's important.
When I finish.
Okay, I might need a bigger cutting board.
Even though it was so
You finished school?
Yeah, it was so long.
Wow.
I didn't see you do
Good job. I didn't see you do school. Okay, this was harder than I thought. I used two hands, so it's hard to film it while I'm doing it because I don't have my tripod out. But yeah, it's a lot of work chopping all that up, but I can see why it melds the, is that a word? The flavors together. And I haven't added my dressing yet, so that'll even help more.
I'm really, really hungry. Can't wait.
Okay. What? This is so good. Oh my goodness, that was way better than I thought it would be. I'm gonna do some tortillas, some sourdough bread, and some lettuce wraps, so people can have whatever they wanted in, and I'll probably have to make another batch here, but it's just my young ones eating lunch, so. And me, I'm definitely eating that. It's very, very good. Okay, we've got a few options. We've got it on tortillas, we've got it on lettuce wraps, and we've got it on bread. It's good. Definitely would do this again. And I have loads of chicken left, so it goes far too, this way. Yum. This is making a great lunch with our dried mangoes we have and some chips and salsa mixed with sour cream. Okay, it's the end of the day. Here are some of the ribs that are done. Some of them are not done. I probably should have started much earlier. It was an all-day event. So we're gonna run it low overnight, I think, and then bake them with some barbecue sauce maybe. But here's some of the ribs that were done that were on the edge. And they're good, right, Solo?
They were great, but I need to fix your lid. I'm sure that's affecting.
Oh, that's right. I never fixed it at Thanksgiving. I had dropped this, or someone did, and the lid doesn't close. It doesn't seal very well, so that's probably some of the issue. But here's how they look now. They just could use a little more time. They're not super tender, but the ones that he found on the edge were. So we had something else for dinner tonight, so it worked out great. Micah decided to make chicken and waffles, and we had chicken thawed. So this will be dinner tomorrow night, and we will bake them up. They'll be ready to bake. Either we'll stop it late tonight or let it run on low all night. This is how they're looking the next morning. Oh my goodness, perfection. Really should have cooked them much longer yesterday. And here's the final product for dinner. They turned out so good. I think I would definitely do those again. They definitely compete with the grill.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
No, they're very good, yeah.
Very good. And we'll have a lot of bones and broth and fat for the dogs later. You're gonna love that. So this is not even all of it. I just can't fit it all in the pan. Definitely a winner. We're eating it tonight with mashed potatoes. Here are the pizza crusts, by the way. I just popped them right off of the pile. Here, we're gonna do 4 tonight. It's the next night. And I'm just gonna let them thaw a little bit and then put the toppings on. Put them on a pan, put them in the oven.